Hi, friends. I have a book I'd like to read for you. It's called Pumpkin Soup. It's by Helen Cooper. There's a lot of small illustrations that kind of tell you some of the key items in the story. A soup pot, pumpkins, a hot mitt. Oh no, that's a chef hat, sorry. A wooden spoon, a bagpipe. Not everybody plays one of those. Salt, a wooden stool, a pitcher, a cup, a knife, and a banjo. Have you ever seen any of these items? This book is dedicated to Jemai and Max. And we got the bagpipe again, little cup, a banjo, some small little insects there. Pumpkin Soup by Helen Cooper. I bet it tastes good. Deep in the woods, there's an old white cabin with pumpkins in the garden. There's a good smell of soup. And at night, with luck, you might see a bagpiping cat through the window, and a squirrel with a banjo, and a small singing duck. So you can see the little music. But here's their small little cabin. Pumpkin soup, the best pumpkin soup you ever tasted. Made by the cat who slices up the pumpkin. Made by the squirrel who stirs in the water. Made by the duck who scoops up a pipkin of salt and tips in just enough. They each have their important job: the cutting, the stirring, and the salting. They slurp their soup and play their song, then pop off to bed in a quilt stitched together by the cat, embroidered by the squirrel, and filled with fine feathers from the duck. See? And it's peaceful in the old white cabin. Everyone has his own job to do. Everyone is happy, or so it seems. But one morning the duck woke up early. He tiptoed into the kitchen and smiled at the squirrel's special spoon. "Wouldn't it be fine," he murmured, "if I could be the head cook?" He's imagining himself with the wooden spoon and the chef's hat. Do you see that? He drew up a stool, hopped up on top, and reached until his beak just touched the tip of the spoon. When you say someone drew up a stool, it doesn't mean they drew a picture. It means they pulled it up to where they needed it. Kerplunk! Down it clattered. Then Duck trotted up back to the bedroom, held up the spoon and said, "Today it's my turn to stir the soup." How do you think that's going to be received by Squirrel and Cat? Do you think they're going to like his idea? "That's mine," squeaked the squirrel. "Stirring is my job. Give that back." "You're much too small," snapped the cat. "We'll cook the way we always have." But the duck held on tight. until the squirrel tugged with all his might, and whoops! The spoon spun through the air and bopped the cat on the head. Then there was trouble, a horrible squabble, a row, a racket, a rumpus in the old white cabin. Look at, they're saying mean things to each other. They're bonking each other with a wooden spoon. Oh dear. And they're best friends. They're like family. A row is another word for a fight or an argument. I'm not staying here. See a duck down there. Wailed Duck, you never let me help with anything. And he packed up a wheelbarrow, put on his hat, and waddled away. You'll be back, stormed the cat, after we've cleaned up. And the squirrel shook his spoon in the air, but Duck didn't come back. Not for breakfast, not even for lunch. Look at the squirrel's concerned, checking the time. I'll find him, scoffed the cat. He'll be hiding outside. See, here's the cat, here's the duck, and there's the squirrel with the wooden spoon. I bet he's hiding in the pumpkin patch. Here's the squirrel looking, and the kitty. Some worms, a ladybug, and a firefly. But the duck was not in the pumpkin patch. They could not find him anywhere. How do you think they're feeling now? So they waited all that long afternoon. Waiting. Right there. Cat watched the door. The squirrel paced the floor. When someone walks back and forth across the floor, that's called pacing. It's usually what they do when they're worrying. That duck will be sorry when he comes home, they muttered. But the duck didn't come home, not even at soup time. They're scratching their head because they really don't know how much salt the duck puts in. Oh, look at their forlorn faces. They look so sad. The soup wasn't tasty. They'd made it too salty. They didn't feel hungry anyway. They both sobbed over supper. Their tears dripped into the soup and made it even saltier. We should have let him stir the soup, sniffled the squirrel. He was only trying to help, wept the cat. Let's go out and look for him. Wonder what's going to happen. The cat and squirrel were scared as they wandered down the path in the dark, dark woods. They feared for the duck, all alone with the trees and the foxes and the wolves and the witches and the bears. But they couldn't find him. They were imagining that all these bad guys had maybe gotten their friend. Now, foxes, bears, and wolves live in the woods. But do witches? On and on they trudged until they reached the edge of a steep, steep cliff. Maybe he fell down that, wailed the cat. They were afraid. This is what they were imagining and worrying about. Do you think that duck went over the cliff? I hope not. That would be very dangerous. I'll save him, squeaked the squirrel, and he scrambled down a long, shaky rope. He searched all around on the ground, but he couldn't find the duck. Nice teamwork for him and the cat, but no luck, huh? Then Cat whispered in a sad little voice, Duck might have found some better friends. He might, sighed the squirrel. Friends who let him help. And the more they thought about it as they plodded back, the more they were sure he was right. They were right. And they were imagining Duck opened up a pumpkin restaurant that says, "It was this soup made Duck famous. How does he do it? They go in thin, they come out fat." And then here's all these people lining up to have Duck's delicious soup. Here they are sulking away. But when they were almost home, they saw the light shining from the old cabin. "It's Duck!" they shrieked as they burst through the door, and Duck was so happy to see them. A group hug. He was also very hungry, and though it was late, they thought they would all make some pumpkin soup. Oh boy. When the duck stirred, the cat and the squirrel didn't say a word. They just zzz. Not even when the duck stirred the soup so fast that it slopped right out of the pot. Not even when the pot got burnt. Then Duck showed the squirrel how to measure out the salt, and the soup was still the best you ever tasted. So once again it was peaceful in the old white cabin, until Duck said, "I think I'll play the bagpipes now." Uh-oh. What now? What do you think will happen? What would you do if someone tried to play your special musical instrument? Would you share and take turns? Or would you say no? Do you think that maybe Duck could have asked in a nicer way? I wonder what's going to happen.